Peter Schelstrate. He is the co-founder of a platform called Ubuntoo. You might know it or not. So we're with him today so that he can explain us a little bit how this works, because you have a direct relationship, Peter, with the ecopreneurs, right? Am I right?
Correct. Ecopreneurs, we call them.
Okay, go ahead. Tell us a little bit about this platform.
So the platform, the way we thought about the platform is a little bit about myself. I used to be with Coca-Cola for 19 years. So I know the inner workings of a big company very well. And we find that the big companies are very important for sustainability. So the big companies have a lot of power, a lot of responsibility also. It can impact sustainability very positively. But they don't know how to find innovators and solutions around the world. Because they're very, very big companies looking for solutions. They don't have a very good touch on the entrepreneurs around the world. And we see a groundswell of entrepreneurs around the world finding new business models, new innovations, and what have you. And so we wanted to do is connect the big companies with the entrepreneurs. So connect the top down of the companies with the groundswell of entrepreneurs. It's a little bit like, if you wish, Airbnb or Uber. Before Airbnb, you didn't know which houses were for rent or apartments were for rent. And we want to kind of connect the two. So the platform is really a kind of business-to-business platform where you can easily find solutions if you're pursuing sustainability and finding alternatives to plastic or a sustainable fashion or sustainable food systems. Right?
Well, let's just talk about sustainable fashion.
Yeah, so sustainable fashion is very important. You know, there's been a couple of decades of fast fashion. And fast fashion meant that, you know, you change every couple of months, you change your garderobe, you find clothes that are actually quite cheap, that are manufactured, a lot of them in China or Vietnam or other places. And so the whole industry is rethinking their model and say, you know, how can we go to more sustainable systems, right? So some of the big brands have started with, you can bring back your own old clothes and have them repaired. Or bring back the old clothes and the company buys them back, for example. And then says, you know, with the old clothes, we're going to make some new clothes. And so you have more and more circular systems that you use what others consider as waste as a material to buy new clothes.
Well, definitely, because actually that is something that you see a lot. You were saying it's cheaper than when we were young. And then it seems, or we have created this necessity, this need of having more and more clothes. It's like when we were young, we had maybe, I don't know, 2-3 pair of pants, and that was it. Nowadays, with our children and ourselves, we have tons of clothes that we hardly sometimes ever use.
Exactly, and we need to move away from that. We need to move away from that because it's you know, in one way, somebody told me it's more important to be in style than to be in fashion. And I think that's an important point is, you know, once you have your style, you know, stick to your style, and you don't need a lot of clothes to be actually fashionable. And secondly, it's important for the environment that we rethink the way we consume also, right? So we rethink the way we buy, we use, and I'm exactly like you. I had a couple of pairs of pants, you know, 2 shoes, two pairs of shoes, a couple of shirts and so forth, and that I was happy with it, right? And I think there's a lot that we can learn from the past also to apply in the future.
And now you mentioned plastic too, and I think that is one of the materials that the platform is concentrated in. Yeah. So if you could tell us about what is your position in front of plastic, what is the use that shouldn't be there anymore of it, and what is the big harm that it's causing the planet?
Yeah. So first of all, plastic, and this is very important to understand, plastic does have a role in today's society. Mm-hmm. So as a platform, it's very clear that we're not anti-plastic, because in a lot of cases, plastic is actually a really good material because it For example, if you have plastic in a car, it makes the car lighter. It makes planes lighter and so forth. So it's very important that we see this in the context of where it is useful and where it is not useful. What is not useful is single-use plastics, right? That are used maybe for 20 seconds or 2 minutes, like you have your coffee cup.
Yeah.
Because the nature of plastic is it's a very versatile material that can last for hundreds of years. So it takes up to 400 years to degrade plastic. But we use it sometimes just for a couple of minutes, like straws and cups and plastic bags, and then throw it away. So material that is meant to stay with us for hundreds of years is being used for 20 seconds. And those kind of applications are wrong, right? And those are the ones, so the low-hanging fruit that we need to move away from.
And what is the solutions that you found into this ecopreneurs about plastic? Have you seen that it's more technology involved or kind of like handmade, like the old-fashioned?
Yeah, so a simple rule of the way to look at it is first think about reducing plastic wherever possible, then reusing material, and then recycle. And so there's a lot you can do in reduction of plastic already. We talked a little bit about that, but also reusing. So if you have, for example, a reusable cup, or some companies have reusable bottles, right? So the reusable glass bottles and so forth, they are becoming in vogue again. So a lot of these companies are thinking, well, you know what, we should go back to the old days where we have the glass bottle that you buy and then bring back to the store. Yeah. And that is becoming in again, right? And then a lot what is happening is recycling. So you will see that a lot of companies and brands are using recycled material in their packaging. And so whenever there's a market for recycled material and people are willing to pay for recycled material, then the waste pickers are going to pick up this the material, and there's going to be a whole economy around recycled material. And I think that's a positive for the environment and the economy.
Well, and that is a responsibility that we all have, actually. Yeah. It's one-on-one. Now, when you've put ideas and clients or needs together, what have you seen that are mainly the more recurrent that happens around the world, and the solutions they're giving are kind of like the same? What is for you the big point in all of this and just linking people together?
Yeah, the big point is big companies have scale. They have a tremendous impact, but a lot of the big companies are not very innovative. And the innovators, of course, the ecopreneurs are very innovative. They have the technology, have the mindset and so forth. They don't have a big structure. And what is amazing is this marriage of scale and innovation. And we want to bring both together, right? So you have fresh entrepreneurs, young people, actually, including from Chile. You have young entrepreneurs from Chile that are looking at things differently, because the market in Chile is different, and you have a lot of small retailers, for example, they think about it differently. And I find it amazing that entrepreneurs, including from Chile, then end up working with big companies, global companies. And that is fantastic, because for the big companies, it brings us fresh perspective. And for the small ones, all of a sudden they have access to a big company for scale. And that, I think, is the recurrent theme.
Great satisfaction, I can imagine. Now, is there any case that success case, right? Because I guess you've seen many over these years that you've been as a platform and in the market. That on one hand, and if there's anybody just looking at this interview right now and would like to join or would like to explore a little bit more, but for example, it has an issue because of language, because of they just speak Spanish, thinking here in Chile, what they can do, what can they do, and how can you help them out?
Yeah, first of all, you can go on Ubuntoo.com and Ubuntoo.com.
We'll write it down, yes.
Yeah, exactly. we have members from 180 countries already around the world. So most countries around the world, we have members, and what you can do there is you can easily engage. Most members of Ubuntu are actually not English speaking, and it's funny because you see sometimes yes, most of it is in English, but short sentences, easy sentences. You can use Google Translate also. You can engage with the community, and I think that's important. That the other point that I want to make is sometimes it's good to fall in love with the small issues. Now we say we love to fall in love with issues, because once we fall in love with issue, then you try to find a solution. And we said, it's not just trying to find solutions for big companies like Coca-Cola and Clorox and Nestle and what have you not. It's sometimes very good to talk about a small issue of a small entrepreneur somewhere in Vietnam.
Yeah, small community.
Hey, recently on the platform, there's someone who said from Bangladesh, I believe, hey, I have all this banana waste. Anyone interested in using this banana waste? Now, the banana waste, you can do a lot with the fibers of banana. So there's companies, there's entrepreneurs on Ubuntu that use the banana fiber to make textile, right? Oh. You have lots of bioplastics, they call it, that are made from algae or banana waste or coconut fiber and so forth. So we love to fall in love with these small questions and say, okay, for this specific one, have a look at this company, let's connect. And so we've been connecting hundreds of people to each other, hundreds. And not just for the big project, but also the small, if we can solve thousands and thousands of small issues, that would be amazing, actually.
Absolutely. It's just so inspiring just to hear you talk, Peter. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate all that you guys are doing for our world. And we hope to just have more and more people to get enthusiastic about this.
Thank you, Caroline, and thank you, and congratulations with your program. It's really fantastic.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Take care.